Right, so today I'm doing my second watercolor pencil drawing, and I'm going to be doing it of an aloe. What you need to create this picture is a pencil, watercolor pencil crayons, a paintbrush, and some water. I'm going to be doing my picture on a piece of watercolor paper today, but a piece of cardboard will also work fine. Try to avoid paper because when you add the water to it, it makes the paper curl and buckle. Right, let's get started. What we're going to do is first draw out our aloe. So the aloe I'm doing, it's got 3 flowers on the top of it, and the one is right in the middle of the page. So I'm going to draw that one first. It's just going to be like an upside down kite shape or a diamond shape. So I'm starting with this triangular shape and then just coming in with a smaller triangle at the bottom. So it creates almost an upside down kite. Our second aloe is going to be on this side, and we're going to start it from just above this line here. So it looks quite nice if each of the flowers is a slightly different height. So we're going to work on doing that. Okay, and then my third one will be just below this line on the other side. Right, and then we're just going to draw some nice thin stalks coming down, so the center one can just be a straight line. Okay, you want to leave a little bit of space at the bottom of the page for the leaves of the aloe, so they all kind of just fold out. So we're going to do the biggest one, and that's going to be the one pointing towards us. So I'm just going to draw a C shape to cover where the stalks of the flowers come in, and then let it come down together. Now aloes, they've got thorns on the edges of their leaves, so I'm just going to make this pattern here so that each of these could represent a thorn. It's like lots of U shapes. Right, we're going to start with the leaf on the left hand side now. It's just going to curve up and then drop back down. The other side of the leaf will be here, curving back, dropping down. Let the lines come closer together, and then there's a line underneath it. That's the bottom part of the leaf. So here we're seeing the side of the leaf. We're going to just add these U shapes again to show the thorns, and there's the other side of it. That's the bottom or underneath part of the leaf that's curved up, so that will just be straight. Okay, then we'll just do 2 more leaves coming out from each end over here. I'm going to draw one line coming down and another line coming down, then our third line, that's the bottom of the leaf. So these 2 are going to get their thorns. Okay, and we can do another one from this side. Okay, we've got our plant drawn out now. We can start colouring it in. Right, so we're going to start with our leaves first. I've got a dark green and a light green, and what I'm going to do is start with the darker green. So for each of the stalks, I'm just going to colour the left hand side of the stalk in slightly darker. So I've actually just drawn a line with the dark green, and then I'm drawing another line next to it with the light green. And for each of the stalks, I want you to do that. Make the left hand side dark, obviously as it gets to the bottom here it can be a bit darker, and then the right hand side just draw a line with the light green. Okay, again we're going to start with this middle leaf here, so I'm going to start with a bit of my darker green and just do the top of the leaf and the right hand side. Now don't colour in the thorns just yet, leave them. We're going to add a little bit of yellow and orange and brown to those thorns to make them stand out a bit. Just adding a little bit of the green, almost outlining the leaf with the dark green. Add a little bit of dark green colouring on this left side. When you colour lightly, then you leave room for the two colours to blend together nicely. Right, and then I'm going to colour over this with the light green. Again, I've left the thorns white. What I'm going to do is just take a little bit of yellow and colour over where each of those thorns are with a bit of yellow. So just a little bit of yellow for now. We'll add details with the orange and the brown later. Okay, let's test this out. So we're going to paint over what we've done. We paint over each of our stalks. The colours should blend together nicely. You might have to go over it more than once to get it to blend together. If you make a mistake like that, you can just use a piece of paper towel and dab your page, and usually you can dab most of it off and then paint over the leaf. So I'm just dipping my brush in the water. As you rub your brush over the page, it lifts up the pigment and blends them together. So there should just be a little spot of yellow on each of your thorns. Right, so I'm going to go on to my other leaves now. So I'm going to start at the base of this leaf here, the bottom part, with my dark green. Do a bit of dark green colouring and let it get lighter and lighter. And then on the inside here, there's also going to be a bit of dark green. So I'm just following the outline of the leaf and getting lighter with my colouring. So where you press hard, it's going to be a really dark green, and as you press lighter, more of the light green will blend in with it. Okay, so I'm going to now go with a bit of light green over where my dark green colouring was. Again, leave your thorns, so you're going to make those yellow. Right, let me just dip our brush in the water. What I'm going to do is start at the yellow thorns and pull the paint down just so that they still stay quite clear, and then blend it into the dark green. Right, we'll just leave these leaves to dry for a little bit and then add some details to them. While we wait, we're going to be colouring in the flowers of the aloe. For the flowers, you're going to need red, orange, yellow and brown. Right, what we're going to start with is just a little bit of red. So what we can do is go around the edge of our kite shape, our upside down kite. Just a little bit of red. You could start a bit darker and get lighter. Then you can add some orange. And then finally some yellow. Just going to do a little bit more orange. Aloe plants come in different colours, varying in colours. The ones that I chose to draw were quite orange, so I'm going to make sure that orange is my most prominent colour. So once I've got that on there, I'm going to take my paintbrush and mix these colors together. But when I do it, I'm going to, well, firstly I'll just blend the colors a little bit. You need to do lots of little lines. So aloes have got these little small little flowers that pop out of them. So it's made up of lots of little flowers. And to create that texture, we need to just do lots of little lines coming off. So we don't want this perfect kite shape. It should have these little lines coming off it. Okay, so we're just going to start with that as our base, and then we'll add details on once it's dried a little bit. So you're going to do the same thing for the other two flowers. Right, we're just going to give those a few moments to dry off and go and add details onto our leaves again. So you're going to take your orange and your brown to add these details. You're going to first take your orange and make a small V on each of your thorns. So each of these yellow thorns is going to get a little orange V on it now. If your paint is still a little bit wet, you're going to find that the pencil crayon almost becomes like pastel-like. That's fine, it makes the colour nice and vibrant. If it's a really small thorn, just make a small orange mark on it. Some of my thorns that are further away are showing up as well. Okay, and then I'm going to take the brown, and that's just going to be a small little mark on the tip. That's the actual thorn part of it. Oh, that one's a bit big. Could also use a bit of brown to get in those spots that you want to look really dark, that are in shadow behind the leaf in the center. So you wouldn't put brown on the center, but anything that's behind it, you could put a little bit of brown on just to set it back, make it look further away. Right, and then we're finally going to end off by adding details onto the flowers. So I'm going to take my brown and my red now, and the flowers are made up of lots of much smaller flowers. I'm just making skinny U shapes all over the flower, and I'm going to go in and do it with a bit of brown too, so that it really shows up nicely. Don't want to add too much brown and make it look like a brown flower. We just want it to be a bit of a dark shadow in the flower. And that's how easy it is to make an aloe looking painting with watercolor pencils. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if this is your first time watching one of our videos, why not subscribe? We put up creative and fun ideas every week.